and welcome to the webinar on the use of AI in transfer pricing. In the last year, artificial intelligence has significantly changed the way I work as a transfer pricing professional and as a general person, and I'm excited to share what I have learned. A couple of words about myself. I'm Borys, and I'm a founder of armslength.ai, the company that develops specialized AI solutions for TP advisors. By my background, I'm a transfer pricing professional. I've been working many years in advisory and in-house roles before moving to IT. I'm a technology enthusiast, but I believe that every tech should be implemented in the right way and bring real value. And that's why I founded armslength.ai, and I'll be happy to talk about it later on. So, what do I want to talk about today? I couldn't skip a very brief intro to what AI is and its relevance for transfer pricing. So that will be our point one on the agenda. Next, I'll talk about the state of our industry in terms of AI adoption. In the last months, I ran many surveys and had a lot of interviews with TP professionals, and I'm excited to share what I've learned. After that, we will talk about how to actually use ChatGPT and similar text generating tools in transfer pricing. I'll talk about use cases and prompts you can try, as well as give some practical advice. In the end, I'll present a specialized AI solution that transfer pricing specialists can use, armslength.ai platform, and show you how it works and what the advantages are comparing to ChatGPT. So let's dive right into it. Every day we hear news about AI and how it is about to change everything in this or that profession. But what do we really mean when we talk about AI in the transfer pricing context? Artificial intelligence is an umbrella term for many things. For example, car autopilot uses AI technology. AI is used in analyzing large volumes of data. This use case can be somewhat relevant for transfer pricing. New AI tools like Midjourney or DALL-E can generate beautiful images. But for transfer pricing, the most relevant AI use case is text generation. Our profession is centered around narratives and stories. Our favorite book is OECD Guidelines, which is a 600-page complex text. Yes, numbers are also involved. We also analyze prices, margins, and other quantitative data. But qualitative data still dominates. In some sense, transfer pricing is closer to the legal profession than, let's say, indirect tax. Text analysis and interpretation are crucial for us. And you have definitely heard about the text generating tool ChatGPT, and I know that many of you use it often in your personal life and work. There are also other solutions available that work somewhat similar to ChatGPT. For example, Bard by Google, Claude 2 by the company called Anthropic, and the recently released Llama 2 by Meta, which is the most powerful open source model. Despite there is a growing number of AI assistant chat tools, ChatGPT stays the most often used. The paid version of ChatGPT is the most powerful option you currently have. And from my discussions with TP professionals, I know that that's the primary AI tools they use. However, this may change because other tools are quickly improving and may have new features that ChatGPT will lack. It is important to understand how this technology works from a data flow perspective. When you ask ChatGPT to do something, like answer your question, the text is sent to the company behind ChatGPT called OpenAI, where it is then processed through an AI model, which then returns the result. It's then shown to you in the chat. So the data is always sent to OpenAI for processing. Just be aware of that, and when you share confidential information, make sure to read the terms and conditions. Now, since we know what we mean by AI, let's dive into the transfer pricing applications. In the last few months, I ran several surveys to understand where we are in terms of AI adoption. The first survey was about how often people use AI tools like ChatGPT for work. It appears that many people already regularly use AI, while most are still using it sometimes. At the same time, more than 40% don't use it because they tried but something prevents them from using it regularly or haven't tried it at all. Then I was curious about the biggest concern people have, and it seems that accuracy and reliability is the biggest issue of all, with data security being the second. Those are valid concerns that we will discuss later on. In terms of data security specifically, almost half of the TP professionals are extremely concerned, which is understandable. There were many horror stories about leaks of sensitive data through ChatGPT recently. Next, I explored what TP professionals think about job security and automation. It seems that the majority believe that AI will assist but not replace TP roles. But there is a growing concern of full automation. Now, let me tell you what I think. First of all, concerns about accuracy, reliability, and data security are valid. At the same time, if you use it in a proper way, you can reduce those risks substantially while maximizing the benefits. I think more and more people will use AI regularly in their work, and this trend will continue for the upcoming months and years. This is good news, as most of the tasks it automates or assists with is not something we necessarily enjoy doing anyways. Regarding job security, I don't yet have a strong opinion, but I tend to agree with the majority. It seems AI will automate certain tasks, but in most cases, it will just save time and improve the quality of our deliverables. At the same time, this will create pressure on transfer pricing professionals who ignore AI tools, as it will be creating competitive advantage for their peers. In the last months, I had more than 40 interviews with TP professionals to understand how they use AI tools like ChatGPT, and I discovered the following use cases. They like using it to draft emails for their clients or even internal ones. ChatGPT gives them good starting point to work with. Rewriting meeting notes or any write-ups is another use case. It can substantially improve the quality of the texts. Functional analysis is another area that was often mentioned. Drafting initial ones based on interview notes or just suggesting templates, though the feedback was mixed from not really useful to some degree. Industry analysis was often mentioned too, though the problem with this was reliability and references. Overall, TP professionals say that it saved a lot of time, it writes in better English, and can help when someone is stuck with the task. Now, I guess that's what many of you were waiting for. An actual ChatGPT demo for transfer pricing. We will try doing functional analysis and industry analysis with ChatGPT to understand its strengths and weaknesses. Let's dive into it. This part will be more freestyle. I will be using ChatGPT. I will be asking it to do something, and we will see what it gives. So I don't know what the results will be. I tried some of those prompts in the past, and let's see together how good it is. So first of all, what we can try doing is preparing us for some functional interview. So let's assume we are going to have a functional interview with, let's say, supply chain manager in the beer company. I will be using GPT-4 because that's a better model. It's a somewhat slower than free GPT 3.5, but it typically gives better results. So let's try. As you see from those questions, it seems that ChatGPT didn't fully understand what functional interview really is, so it seems that it focuses on functional interview rather as a recruitment interview or something like that. So let's try reiterate this and mention that this is going to be a transfer pricing functional interview. Now, it seems that it started understanding that we are talking about transfer pricing, but it still thinks it's a candidate for a job. So probably we would need another iteration. But now from the questions that were asked, they are starting getting closer to a transfer pricing topic, though seems like asking questions that are not necessarily in the area of a supply chain manager. So I would say that that's like 3 out of 5, that's the result. So the conclusion from this is that don't hesitate iterating, don't hesitate asking ChatGPT to adjust what you get, and that will ensure that it slowly will get to the point where the result will become useful for you. Let's now try doing functional analysis here. All right, it seems that functional analysis that we've got from this is again not necessarily tailored for transfer pricing. So this says that functional analysis allows us to assess and understand various roles and processes within a distribution company, ensuring each function effectively supports the organization's missions and goals. And then, then we've got a description of some functions or some roles that distribution people or employees of a distribution company would typically play. So let's try doing it again, but now add more transfer pricing context. This is now much more relevant for transfer pricing. So if you look at the structure and descriptions, they are now relevant and can be used for transfer pricing purposes, though that would be pretty generic LRD functional analysis. And then we can still customize it. So we could ask it to add more information, expand some functions, and start analyzing other side of the transaction potentially too. But there is a high chance that the next time you will try doing it, the results will be pretty different. And also customization here is limited to, again, a context window. So after a couple of questions, it will start forgetting where it has started and will start recreating the content all over again. But I think this one already is pretty useful. So you can use it for your work, or try to generate it and try to see if that can be useful for your case. Now let's try doing industry analysis. I will use European pharmaceutical sector and let's see what we can get from it. All right, what we've got here is a pretty decent industry analysis. So we've got some sections like overview, market size and growth rate, key trends, challenges, competitive landscape, regulatory environment, R&D and innovation, future outlook, opportunities, and threats, and some conclusion. Though what I'm missing here is more hard facts, and probably from a transfer pricing perspective, we typically look at the standard structure of industry analysis. We also would be willing to have more references to hard sources. So let's try asking ChatGPT to add all of that. Now it's better. So we've got more information about competitive landscape and key players, and it also included some sales numbers from year 2020. And at the same time, in the beginning, it said that know that my training data is up to September 2021. So it knows that its own limitations, which is good. Lower chance you will use something that is not real. And it included some references saying that, well, it used this or that source. But those references are pretty high level, so you would still be having hard times identifying where each fact actually came from. Let's try asking it if it can provide not just references, but also web links so that we could verify those references. All right, so it now said that it apologizes for the oversight, but it says that training data does not include direct links to external sources, and then it gives some recommendations where we could potentially find some of the references it used, but that essentially means that it will be very hard to verify them because you will need to Google each source, so kind of reverse engineer all the references for this industry report, which can be a pretty difficult task. So I'm not sure that using it for industry analysis in this way is a will give you decent results at a meaningful time. So there are alternatives to it, and we will discuss them later in this webinar. But as a minimum, what I would suggest you doing is actually going to those websites first. So go to ChatGPT, ask, tell it, I'm preparing industry analysis for this industry. Can you tell me what are the sources that I could use? And it will give you the list of sources. And then you can use those sources. You can go yourself and Google them and find reports. And then you can, that's like will save you some time. You can then take pieces of that report, give it back to ChatGPT and ask to rewrite it as an industry report. Though then you will still have a limitation of the amount of information you can feed here. So it will require a little bit of playing and finding your own way of doing it, which will probably be pretty different depending on the industry you work for or the industry your client is and the country you're preparing it. After the demo, you should have a feeling about usefulness of AI in transfer pricing. It is useful, but you need to know how to prompt it or ask it and its limitations. For good results, you'll need a paid subscription and do many experiments, but the results will get more useful over time. So what are the concerns that people have when using ChatGPT in transfer pricing specifically? They don't always know how to use it, and they don't really share their experiences. Also, results were often inconsistent. Since they are worried about data security, they often have to anonymize the data, which is time-consuming and also not always reliable. Also, I often spoke to AI champions or ChatGPT super users, while most of their team members were still pretty early in the journey or haven't used ChatGPT at all. And if we look at the news, that's what we also know. A lawyer was caught using ChatGPT because the citations were fake. Workers often put in confidential information, but at the same time, more and more people use them. Now, here are my recommendations if you want to use ChatGPT in your transfer pricing work. First, change ChatGPT privacy settings so that it doesn't store your conversations and doesn't use the data for training purposes. Good practice is still anonymize the data and also don't put any highly sensitive facts anyway. When using it, try providing more context and examples. This will improve the quality of the results and make it more useful. Think of it as if you're working with a smart but inexperienced junior consultant. They need to understand what you want and how TP deliverables look like. Iterate. In other words, review what ChatGPT gives you and ask it to change it or customize what you get. It's very hard, even for humans, to get it right from the first try. And then don't ask for hard, up-to-date facts. Instead, ask them to rewrite something you found useful on the internet yourself, like a high-quality, up-to-date industry report or any other useful information. And this way you will ensure that the information it works with is actually accurate in the background. With this, let's move to a specialized AI tool, armslength.ai platform. This solution was built specifically for transfer pricing professionals, and it solves most of the issues we have discussed so far. So let's see how it works. Here you see the armslength.ai platform. This is a solution built for helping transfer pricing advisors with their daily tasks, saving them hours of work while ensuring the quality is good and their data is secure. What we've got here is a set of tools that solve particular tasks. For example, we have functional interview questions that help you prepare for a functional interview, contract analyzer that makes it easier and quicker to work with intercompany agreements, functional analysis to draft FARs, and industry analysis tool and group overview tool. There are also more coming, like benchmarking, studies automation, and value chain analysis. Let me now show you how functional analysis tool works first. I'm using functional analysis tool to prepare an initial draft of functional analysis for an imaginary client. Let's give it some key parameters such as names of the entities, their profiles, and format that we want. Let's assume we already know something about the client. For example, what kind of goods they sell and who bears FX risk. Now, armslength.ai generated a customized functional analysis for us. What you only have to do now is to verify if there is nothing missed. This is very different from ChatGPT, where you need to know how to ask it, what to put there, and need many iterations to get to a good result. Also, the format and functions, assets, and risks will be different every time you use ChatGPT. This solution will give you consistent, high-quality results every time you use it. And we can even ask it to add more details and prepare a FAR table for our local file. Now you can just use it in your document and format it as you like. So we've got the full text, and that text is pretty detailed, of a functional analysis listing all the functions, assets, and risks for both sides of the transaction. We also have conclusions and entity characterization here that you would typically see in the local file, and we have some assumptions and follow-up questions that could be asked from companies just to confirm that functional analysis is accurate and everything is captured. And also we have this functional analysis table that is something typical that you would see in every transfer pricing study. And this table can also be copied to the clipboard and then used in any file that you are preparing, and you could still customize it and change it. Another tool that saves a lot of time for transfer pricing professionals is industry analysis. This is the tool that generates full industry analysis for any country and any industry for a particular period. And those industry analyses are supported with references that you could verify and follow the standard layout that is typical for transfer pricing projects. So let's use pharmaceutical industry and let's use Europe as an example here. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to generate full industry analysis, so I will just pause and revert back once it's ready. This industry analysis was generated in 7 minutes, so it follows the standard layout, which is a general overview, history of the industry, major players, market conditions, competition level, regulatory influences, external factors, and future outlook. At the end, you will get the references. Those are the links that you can go and check. So this tool actually uses up-to-date public information that you can verify, and throughout the text, it includes those references. So you can actually see all of the facts that are presented here are supported by sources that it could find on the internet and come up with the standard industry analysis that you can immediately use for your purposes. Good practice here is also to generate several industry analyses that are closely related, like let's say you're analyzing information technology sector, so you can start with IT industry analysis, then you can add software industry analysis, then you can add software development or cybersecurity industry analysis, and then you will have a lot of materials to choose from and then combine together, and that all won't take any of your time to generate. It will take you just a few minutes to run all of those, and then all of the work will be done in the background by AI. As you have seen, this solution gives you an easy way to start getting benefits of AI immediately without need to learn how to use ChatGPT while keeping quality high and consistent. It's trained specifically for transfer pricing and was customized and verified for it. You can count on consistent, clear outputs that are fit for purpose, both in terms of content and format. You also don't need to puzzle over how to use AI at work. Our platform includes various tools explicitly created for transfer pricing cases. Also, your data is safe with us. armslength.ai is deployed on a top-tier server using private, protected APIs that have been verified by Microsoft. Unlike other solutions, armslength.ai generates responses and provides references that are current and accurate, ensuring your deliverables are always up to date. We also leverage the power of GPT-4 with 32,000 context window and GPT 3.5 16,000 turbo, which are advanced models not available in ChatGPT. Plus, we also utilize a suite of other AI assistant models to ensure optimal results. Give it a try, subscribe, and get all the benefits of AI in your transfer pricing project. You can also book a demo and see it yourself. Visit www.armslength.ai. Thank you for registering and attending this webinar. I hope it was useful, and let's stay in touch. Bye for now.